Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate being able to be with you today. I hope that you've been following what's been happening in current events. This is one of the most fascinating experiences I remember. Today you had Donald Trump speaking and giving a very fascinating presentation at Liberty University back in Virginia, where a dear friend of mine had founded that, Jerry Falwell. Jerry and I were very, very dear friends. We lectured together in different places, and he said to me one day, he said, we had just finished a presentation in Oklahoma with over 7,500 people in the audience, and he said to me, he said, Glenn, I'm in almost every newspaper, almost every magazine, but my picture will be taken out, and you people, your pictures will replace it. And I said, why is that, sir? Why are you talking that way? You're very popular. He said, but that won't continue. He said, we're able to find freedom fighters by the thousands and by the tens of thousands. But we have to look to you people for the message. And I thought that was very, very fascinating, because I would invite everybody to get a copy, if they possibly can, of the talk given today at Liberty University. Wonderful university in Virginia. I love that place. And compliment them. They have a requirement that their students have to listen to 3 lectures every week from different leaders around the country, etc. Over 10,000 attended today's lecture. And Donald Trump was a tremendous presenter of the message that we're hearing in the political arena today. Very clear. Best I've heard him share it. And all of it was a fascinating interpretation of him wanting to be a greater dictator than Obama. And all through the presentation, listen to it. And I'm not calling him an evil man. I'm just simply saying that as a people, we are demanding action in a very fascinating way. And instead of having him stand up and saying, I will help restore the Constitution so the people will be able to have checks and balances again. I will help going into working with Congress, and we will help work together to heal the problems that we have with people coming from other countries. We will work together with the state leaders and make sure we have checks and balances. We will work together and strengthen the military. There was no rhetoric that way at all. The whole rhetoric is, I will do, I will do, I will do. It's not because of him being that way, it's what we as a people are demanding. We are demanding radicalism instead of constitutionalism. Just like Secretary Benson had commented better than 23 years ago, when he said they will try to take care of every problem. He talked about the time coming when they will call the wall between the United States and Mexico the Trump wall. And it will be able to be a world competitor to the wall in China. And it will be called the Trump wall. His whole presentation, I'm not against China, I'm with China. I am part of their banking system. I've got this, and he went on talking about why China must succeed. He missed entirely the whole presentation of what has to be done for permanent solution. It reminded me, and those over here from other countries, it reminded me of a presentation that I shared and would like everybody to go get a copy of. And I'm not necessarily calling Mr. Trump the same. I'm telling you that our people today are like it was before. And I just finished a presentation that I want everybody to get a copy of and go on thomasjeffersoncenter.com and sign up and start getting the monthly reports. And in the behind the scenes in Washington, the whole report this month, by the way, is dealing with George Washington because of January and what it means. And you have material in there for those of you with younger children or younger grandchildren, special presentation for their age. There is a special presentation for teenagers. And then there's two presentations for the adults. And one of them is called Behind the Scenes in Washington. It's one of 3 that I will be giving on this particular subject. And it's going to be on the area of understanding the current events by looking to the past. And you will enjoy going through as some of the top historians of American history identified the fact that what's happening in America politics today is not by chance. Excuse me. What's happening in politics today in America and throughout the world is not by chance. It is by direction. And the question we always have to ask is who is directing it and why? And I'll take you through that in your presentation of Behind the Scenes in Washington over the next 3 months. I'll give you the documentation. I will give you where to find it so that you will see it and recognize it. But I want you to look at a presentation done by a man called Mussolini. How many have ever heard of him in your history at all? And when you go and listen to Mussolini, don't listen to what he's saying from his point of view, but listen to what he's saying from the viewpoint of the people who were in the audience. And then listen to what was happening with Mr. Trump today and what's happening in the campaigns as to what he would do. There's nothing we will. Everything is I will. And that was what was so interesting, is that it's because that's what's demanded by the people of America, just like it was demanded in the time of Mussolini. And Mussolini did not say, I hate Obamacare. He would stand up in front of thousands of people, bounce with his hand on his big tummy, and he would say, I hate communism. And he was talking to people who hated communism. He was a gifted speaker. I'm not talking about his personality. I'm not talking about his morality. I'm talking about the fact that he was able to deliver the message the people wanted. And they were ready to go through a revolution, if necessary, to be able to get what they think they wanted. But it was no permanent solution to peace. And the whole thing, I won't be like the communists. You can keep your property. I love you. I love our country. I will do better. It was so fascinating to me to watch today. Not because I was watching Donald Trump. It was I was watching wonderful, wonderful people. As he said, we must save Christianity. And he didn't say, we will go against what is written on the Statue of Liberty. We will go against what the founding fathers fought for that allowed every one of us to come to this land from other lands. But the people in the audience, good people, most of them young, who are not studying history, are reacting to ignorance, not acting for permanent healing of America. I call on everybody everywhere. Just like you heard today. We must have the answer to freedom in this land, he said, is promotion of Christianity. It will shock you when you go back and see those very words were used by a man by the name of Hitler. Identical. We will save the problems of the world by promoting and requiring Christianity to the world. That was Hitler. So now, as we're going through, look at where, oh, thank you very much. Look what we need to contemplate and focus on. Reaching people to be able to see a permanent solution and say, all right, Mr. Trump, you did a superb job. I told my wife that was the most powerful speech I've heard him give in my life. And I said, take every one of the problems just that he identified, just like Secretary Benson pleaded for us to do 23 years ago. Take every one of the problems he's identified and ask yourself the question. Put them in categories as you ask the question. What part of the Constitution has been eliminated that allow those kind of problems to exist, Mr. Trump? Those problems do not exist because of Obama. They do not exist because Hillary's running for president. That's not why they exist in our land. We're not where we are because of the last 4 years. That is weird. 4 years is enough of the leadership we've got. I can be a better dictator. And I'm saying, wow. So what I'm going to do in our lectures that we'll be putting out for our presentations here, as well as in our monthly that we'll put out with the behind-the-scenes report. And if you didn't get the one we did this past week, be sure and sign up. It's not expensive at $10 a month. If you go into that and the material's not worth it, you let me know. I'll return your $10. But it gives an opportunity for you to let us go through, and I will share with you what's happening in America and the world is not by chance, but it is being directed. And you'll say, well, who's in charge? Watch and see. And you'll find out what happened yesterday with the release of prisoners in one country and 3 kidnapped in another. And how the whole presentation will be set up where they've already talked about kidnappings going on in different countries for specific reasons, and it's not money. Very interesting. But that's what we'll learn as we share with you the rest of the story. Okay?